If you are a Microsoft CSP reseller, you are probably familiar with the CSP Association, and you know that you get recognized and earn points in the Partner Capability Score for selling CSP cloud services. But did you know that CSP doesn't count for all designations, and there are other partner associations you can leverage? So CSP counts in the designations for modern work SMB only. It counts for business applications, security, data and AI, infrastructure, and digital and app innovation. CPOR allows for partners to be recognized for servicing a customer's cloud environment. Partners initiate a claim in Partner Center, and it is validated by both Microsoft and your customer. CPOR, claiming partner record, counts for modern work enterprise and SMB, business applications, and security. Digital partner record, DPOR, is where the end customer subscription owner associates your partner NPN ID to the subscription. It's generally used for EAs. Partner admin link, PAL, is used whenever a partner delivers his services within a customer's Azure production environment. You're attaching your NPN number to that environment. And then last, we know CSP. And CSP is tied to the subscription resell. Partners need to add the customer in their Partner Center customer workspace. And that's how you get the CSP association. So let's talk more about what CPOR is. It does stand for Claiming Partner Record, and it is a claiming process within Partner Center. You initiate a claim within the incentives workspace. You can claim CPOR at any time. CPOR gives partners recognition for their work and influence driving customer consumption and usage, even if you're not the one selling the licenses. So a good example would is maybe you have a customer that you're deploying Intune, but they already have their licenses from another provider. You could get recognition for that into the work that you are doing with them on Intune. Now, maybe you are selling them the CSP licenses and doing the deployments. Well, in that case, you can be both. And partners gain CPOR attribution by workload, whereas CSP association is by subscription. So with CPOR, it is one partner per workload. Even though multiple partners can be associated to an end customer, it is only one partner per workload. Microsoft uses CPOR model to identify and recognize partners, understand the ecosystem of service providers, and refine tools and programs to support customers. There are many benefits for CPOR. It helps you earn points for designations and specializations. In some cases, it may be the only way you can earn points when CPOR doesn't count. You earn more points in CPOR when it comes to the modern work, specifically in SMB and enterprise. There are metrics in there that give you more points in CPOR than CSP. And last, you can be CSP and CPOR. You're not giving up anything by doing a CPOR association. Okay, so let's look at modern work SMB points as an example, because when I tell people they earn more points, they want to know how. And so with modern work and the deployments, if you go into your scorecard, into specifically the deployments, and you click on view details, you're going to see you've got it defaults is to the CSP tab. And under CSP, you'll see a scoring formula that says each net new deployment contributes to 2.5 points. If you click on CPOR, and then when you do that, it changes the scoring formula. And then it says each net new deployment contributes to 5 points. Now, if we look at usage growth in modern work SMB, again, when you click on CSP, and CSP is the default, you'll see the scoring formula says each usage growth contributes to 0.015 points. Click on the CPOR tab, and now the scoring formula changes. Each usage growth contributes to 0.06 points. So in deployments, it was double, 2.5 for CSP, 5 for CPOR. In usage growth, it's more than double in points. CSP was 0.015 points, and then in CPOR, it was 0.06 points. Now, if we go to the Modern Work Enterprise scorecard, you're going to see in that same view details for deployments, we have here the default is DPOR because CSP does not count in enterprise. It is only DPOR and CPOR. So on the DPOR tab, the formula says each net new deployment contributes to 2.5 points. Click on the CPOR tab, and now each new deployment contributes to 5 points. Again, double the points. Now, if we look at Modern Work Enterprise usage growth, under the DPOR tab, each usage growth contributes to 0.0075 points. Under the CPOR tab, each usage growth contributes to 0.03 points, more than double. Okay, so CPOR can be claimed for various workloads. There are a lot of workloads, and just recently, Microsoft expanded the workloads that are eligible in Modern Work Scorecard. So I've updated this slide because these workloads went into effect February 2026. All of the new workloads are highlighted here, but all of these workloads that you see count towards the Modern Work, SMB, or Enterprise designation. And these are the workloads that you'll want to CPOR. When you go into Partner Center and you start a CPOR claim, you're going to see more workloads than this because you'll also see the security workloads. I will stress stick to the Modern Work workloads because the advantages and the benefits are really under Modern Work. It's only Modern Work that gives you more points for the CPOR association. Now, the other thing I'm going to caution is don't go and pick every single workload. There are workloads that partner or customers don't use, like Viva. Very few customers use Viva. And so when you associate it, there'll be like no usage or low usage. There may even be cases where Teams meetings might be very low usage because it's just a small operation. They've got, 12 users, they're all in the same room. They don't have a need to utilize Teams. So in those cases, again, you want to be very specific about what workloads you pick. Now, let's talk about the steps to creating a CPOR association. So the first thing you're going to do is prepare required information. You're going to have to decide on the proof of execution documents and complete those. You'll start the claim in Partner Center, upload the PO documents, and then submit your claim and monitor it. Now, let's dig in deeper to each of those requirements. So that first step with the required information, you're going to identify the customers and the workloads for CPOR. So before any submission, you're going to gather the customer contact name, title, and email. This is who Microsoft will be emailing. So it is important that you get that information right. The customer tenant ID, you'll need that. You can get that information in your Partner Center under the customer's workspace, or you can use this URL, what is my tenant ID. You'll need the number of seats the customer has, just an estimate, doesn't have to be exact. You'll need the engagement start date. It is recommended that you do it within the last 12 months. Don't pick anything older than 12 months. You'll likely get rejected. And then you also need the workloads and details per workload. And I also want to point out that you will need certain Partner Center permissions. So only an incentives admin or incentives user can view and create CPOR claims. All right, step 2 is you're going to decide and complete the proof of execution documents. There's 2 options for you. Option 1 is you use the Microsoft provided template, or option 2, you use an existing SOW and a customer email. Now, it doesn't matter which option you choose. You do not need to do both option 1 and option 2, okay? So pick whatever is going to be easier for you. Now, in most cases, I find with the partners that I work with, option 2 is easier. But again, I've had some partners, option 1 is easier for them. Again, it doesn't matter. Just do what is easier for you. Okay, so if we go through option 1, you're going to download the Microsoft provided template. It's just a Word doc. You're going to fill it out, sections 1, 2, and 3, and then you're going to send that document to the customer, and the customer has to sign it. It does need to be digitally signed so that it has to have like a certificate statement, IP proof page, to prove that it was signed. Now, if you go with option 2, you're going to get an existing SOW that you have with your customer. If your SOW has all of these things, that is great, but I'm going to assume that it doesn't. So you're just going to get an existing SOW. Don't worry about how old it is or whether it was digitally signed, because then you're going to get this customer acknowledgement email. You're going to send an email to the customer to get confirmation, and then you will save that email as an MSG file. You're basically going to request the customer to acknowledge you as CPOR. You will list each workload and provide a brief 2 to 3 sentence description for each workload. And if your customer is a public sector customer, then you'll need to mention potential Microsoft incentives. So let's look at some examples of some documents. Here is the Microsoft provided template. Again, it's a Word doc. You're going to fill out section 1 here, which is basically you're picking the workloads that you're associating to. You will choose whether each workload is deployment migration, remote guidance, or other. Then you will fill out section 2, which is you're going to list all of the workloads that you have picked here on the left and provide a description of 2 to 3 sentences per workload. So you will fill that in. Then you will fill in section 3, which is your contact information and the customer's contact information. You will send this document something through like DocuSign, send it to the customer for them to sign. They will need to initial the public sector disclosure. Okay, and that's all you have to do for the POE if you're using the Microsoft document. Now, option 2 was when you were using an SOW and an email. So I don't have an example for you of an SOW. I'm sure you'll be able to grab one of those for any of your customers. But the customer acknowledgement email, it'll look like this or something like this. So basically the subject line, request for partner and customer CPOR association. You've got some wording up in the here. Partner will submit to Microsoft a request for customer association called claiming partner record, indicating we are helping your organization deploy or adopt Microsoft Cloud services. This association provides partner with recognition regarding the workloads listed in this email. Once we submit CPOR request, you will then receive an email from Microsoft within a few days confirming the partnership association. This communication from Microsoft is an opportunity to opt out, and there is nothing further you need to do to approve this association. Then we will list out all the workloads, okay? And the description. Now, I won't read through all of these, but I will give you all the examples. So in this first one, so this is the wording here that I had at the top of the email. You feel free to cut and paste and use this exact wording that I have. Don't forget, if your customer is a public sector in the US, you will need to add this additional paragraph into the top part of that email. And then for the workload descriptions, I have a few examples for you, but do not use the exact wording I have here, because this is not a template. This is describing what you do with the customer, and it should be unique to you, or fairly unique. Everyone does pretty similar services, I guess, to some degree, but do not use my exact wording. Do write it in your own words. It can be longer than this. 2 sentences is kind of like the minimum that you would be required by Microsoft in order to kind of give a description of what it is you do. Now, you can read through these, but basically what Microsoft is looking for, wording that proves you're doing more than just selling a license, right? That you are helping the customer deploy, migrate, optimize, drive usage in all those different workloads. Okay, so each description will be unique to the type of workload that you have. But really what you're doing is you're showing Microsoft the work that you do that ultimately drives that user engagement and consumption within those workloads. All right, so we've got all of that. Now let's look at the steps within Partner Center. So you're going to come in here and you're going to come to that incentives workspace. And remember, you do need to be an incentives admin or user. You will come here into the customer claims section. From the customer claims section, it defaults under modern work and security. So you'll click on this drop down for add customers and you will choose use or consume. Use or consume is for CPOR claims. Partner activities is for things like immersion briefings or envisioning workshops. So choose use or consume. Then it will come up with the add customer. You will give your claim a name, something that is meaningful to you. Then you will choose the partner location. So there will be a little drop down. You'll choose the location that you are associating CPOR with. Then you will add the customer tenant ID. And by default, you'll see this grayed out where it says, I claim for recognition only and would like to opt out of incentive payment for this claim. So this has been grayed out now for a while for Microsoft. A year ago and more than a year ago, Microsoft used to have CPOR incentives on select workloads. They were generally for only workloads where customers with greater than 300 paid seats. So there was not something that a lot of people were making a lot of money on. And just know that they've grayed this out because there are no incentives. So you're not missing out on anything. And Microsoft is keeping it in here in case in the future they do want to bring CPOR incentives back. In which case, if there is, it'll be communicated in the Microsoft incentives guide. All right, so we got that out of the way. Click on next. Here you will see that full list of all of those workloads that you can associate with. This will include both modern work and security workloads. You will also notice that some of these say associated to another partner. So you can only be one partner per workload, right? And so it's giving you a heads up and already telling you, hey, another partner has already been associated to this workload. Now, it doesn't mean you can't get CPOR for it. You can, but then Microsoft will go back to the other partner and say, hey, somebody's trying to claim CPOR, so you have an opportunity to submit newer POE. And then Microsoft will look at your POE and the other partner's POE. Microsoft will decide, hey, whose POE is more recent or work is, that they deem more appropriate to be the associated partner. So anyway, point is, be careful about these workloads. You can pick as many workloads as you want in here. You'll be able to still modify it before you submit a claim. But the caution would be only pick workloads within modern work. not security, and don't pick workloads with another that's already associated to another partner. Now, when I say that, I mean for your very first time, for your first kind of like 5 claims, just keep it nice and simple. Go for the easy stuff. Also, don't pick those workloads that have no usage or low usage like Viva. So once you've selected all your workloads, then you will be providing the customer contact information and your contact information. So you will populate that in here. Now, remember that if you put in an email address that doesn't match the domain of the customer, you'll get a mismatch error, domain mismatch error, and then you'll have to provide reasoning as to why it is a mismatch, and it may cause issues and you might not get your claim approved unless you have a very good reason as to why it doesn't match. So once you've done that, you've submitted the information and hopefully those domains match, you will click next. Then it's just kind of a summary of what you've put in so far. You will click on add customer, and then you will see here it says claim successfully created. Now, the claim has been created, not submitted, okay? Because you still have more to do. You're going to click on this upload POE. And here we're now in the claim. So the claim has been created. It's like the shell of the claim. And you could exit now and everything will be saved. But from here, you can still edit before you submit. Like say you've started it and you realize that was the wrong contact. Let me go and correct that. You still have time to correct that, including partner information. You can correct it before you submit it. Once you've submitted, you cannot change that contact information at all. Okay. And then here on the right, you just got your claim status so you can see where it is. So right now we're just in editing. If it has been submitted, it will kind of progress through that status section. Now, if we scroll down more into this page, we'll come to the workload information. So these were all the workloads I had picked earlier in the beginning screens. You still have a chance here also to edit, add more workloads, or maybe you want to remove these workloads that are associated to another partner. Okay, so again, just a reminder, everything is being saved. You can exit the claim and come back to it if you need some more time before you submit it. Again, a reminder about the workloads. If you are claiming a workload with security is more scrutinized, and Microsoft will require more detailed POE information. If you're claiming a workload that has another associated to another partner, because it's going into arbitration, it'll take a little bit longer for it to be approved. So the recommendation is split out the workloads. So these ones like specific to modern work, like Exchange Online or M365 apps where it says it's blank, put those on one claim. And then the ones that are associated to another partner separated into a separate claim. So you're just basically doing 2 claims with the same customer, but they'll be different workloads. And the reason you want to do this is because it'll speed up the process. These ones that are not associated to anybody, you could get those quickly approved. And as soon as your claim is approved, that's when your workload starts. Your CPOR association starts. If Microsoft denies your claim, they deny the whole claim, right? And so there is a chance that you might get denied when it's already associated to another partner. And there's also a higher chance that you'll get denied when it comes to security because they scrutinize it more. All right, so let's keep scrolling down. We got a couple more sections here. In the proof of execution, you've got to fill this in. So you'll click on that little edit button, and then you will fill in this information. The first thing up here is the engagement type. You've got the choice of deployment migration, remote guidance, or other. So deployment migrating, I think that's self-explanatory. If it is remote guidance, this is suitable for scenarios where you're providing advisory services to the customer. So you're helping the customer understand how to implement or optimize their Microsoft solutions. You're providing training or workshops remotely. You're offering ongoing support and advice to ensure the customer is getting the most out of their Microsoft investments. All right, so you will choose the engagement type, the start of the engagement. Remember, the start of the engagement needs to be within the last 12 months. The end date, that'll just be today's date because, assuming this is an ongoing relationship with your customer, you will choose, you will write down the customer's location. So just the city is fine. You don't need to give the state or country. Last is the number of seats. That again, that is just an estimate. So give a rough number. All right, now we're near towards the end. Okay, so step 4. So now we're towards the end. We're at step 4 where you're going to upload the proof of execution documents. So that is either you went with option 1 and you've got the completed Microsoft template, or you went with option 2 where you're going to upload the SOW with the customer acknowledgement email. If you wanted to go with step 1 and you're wondering where do I get that template, this is where you would get it. You would download it here. So you'd have to start a claim at least, and before you'd be able to get the template. Okay, and then the last section is the optional comments. It is recommended that you cut and paste the workloads and the workload descriptions in here, even though they're clearly, they're clearly in your email, or maybe they're clearly labeled in your SOW or in your template. Copy and paste it here. It just kind of helps the auditor and it helps speed up the process. All right. Now, if you do put some comments, you might need to save them. If you want to come back to your claim, that's the only one that's not auto-saved. And then the last section is the acknowledgement. So once you tick off the acknowledgement, the submit claim will light up, and then you can submit your claim. Now, if you're not ready to submit your claim, that is okay. You can just kind of come out of the claim in itself, and it is saved in here for you to come back to. You'll see here on that customer claims now where you've entered that claim. You've got the status here and any action items for you to do. Okay, so now we're kind of at that very last step of the CPOR, and that is once you've submitted your claim, you're going to monitor it and then follow up on any action items that are required. So generally, CPOR takes about 1 or 2 days to be reviewed when it comes to the modern work. It'll be longer if it is security, but modern work, they're generally pretty quick. So they'll review your CPOR within 1 to 2 days. If the auditor sends it back to you requiring some more information or clarity, try and do that as soon as possible. Remember that these CPOR reviewers are non-technical. They can easily miss something. And when you're replying back to them, try and be concise, but also avoid excessive elaboration. Now, if by chance your claim does get rejected, you can dispute it, right? So you have 30 days to dispute it. But if you're following everything that I have here in today's presentation, you will get approved, okay? Unless it is already associated to another customer, in which case, well, then that's Microsoft deciding who gets it. So then last is once your claim is approved, the CPOR Association starts the day the claim is approved. Now, once the claim is approved, then it starts calculating and gaining the usage information, the monthly active users details. And so it will still take 2 months before you see your contribution in the scorecard. So another 2 months before the points hit the scorecard. And so, for example, say you did a CPOR association on February the 2nd and it was approved on February the 5th. That's great. So from February, well, we still have February, the rest of February, to get all that monthly active users on that CPOR association, which means that would be February data. February data won't show up until the March 20th refresh. And so if you get your CPOR association, say the last week of February, like February the 20th, 21st, there is likely a high chance that it will not make it on the March 20th refresh because there hasn't been enough data in the month of February. And so it will definitely collect March data, and then that will show up and reflect points in the April 20th refresh. So just remember, so this takes time. Nothing about the Microsoft scorecard is quick. Everything takes time before you see results in the scorecard, but this is almost like a guaranteed way of increasing points in deployments and usage growth. All right. Now, the last thing is you do need to explain to your customers about CPOR before you go and send them this email or Microsoft template. They might be wondering, what is this all about? So basically, you're just letting the customer know that you're going to claim CPOR for attribution. The only data that you're going to get is usage information, which basically can help you, monitor the customer's active usage and provide recommendations for them to maximize their subscriptions. Now, the customer will get notified by Microsoft via email. There is nothing for the customer to do, so you can let them know. They can just ignore the email. Within the email, though, there is a button basically for the customer to opt out. If the customer clicks on that button and opts out, you will not have CPOR association. And then last is some key insights and best practices. So do pre-warn customers about the acknowledgement email. Don't forget about the disclosure for public sector customers. Do choose your workloads carefully and avoid associating with inactive or low usage workloads. Keep your claims separate for modern work versus security. Use detailed workload descriptions and include that in the comments section to aid approval. Think about including product usage monitoring in your service offering. And then last is, leverage the CPOR insights for upselling and usage growth with your customer. So last is the key takeaways. CPOR matters. It does give you recognition for your work with customers. It counts towards designation specializations. There is more points in modern work, and it helps you to maximize benefits. So basically, it's going to make it easier for you to qualify and requalify every year. And then last is you're going to start the learning process as soon as you can, because this stuff takes time. Start with just one claim. Get one claim fully approved. Then go and tackle 3 or more claims. And 5 claims total approved, you will see results in your scorecard. But the results will take time. It'll take probably about 2 months before you see those points. And then last, you can claim CPOR even for the customers you're still selling CSP licenses to. It does not affect anything. It does not change anything about your CSP. It does not change or affect rebates at all. Okay. And then we're going to leave you with some additional resources. And yeah, that is it. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this makes CPOR a little bit easier for you. Trust in the process. It does work. and it will give you more points in deployments and usage growth.